Hello, FleetReadyFam. Welcome to FleetReadyGaming. My name is Sivad, and today we're doing another episode of Sivad Reacts 2. Today we're going to be watching Thursday's Inside Star Citizen, This Life Is Mine, which aired February 23rd, 2023. So let's go ahead and get into it. An episode about mining. The most further built out career path in Star Citizen aside from combat. I'm excited to see the changes that they're making. I've heard a host of mixed opinions on it through Spectrum and in my org, but through my org, everyone seemed pretty happy about what they heard. This is going to be a fresh take for myself watching this. I have not seen it yet. And yeah, let's go ahead and check it out.
Just when we think we're out, you all pull us back in. The mining profession journey has been one of the most collaborative in all of Star Citizen, with no shortage of player feedback and game systems that have been designed for flexibility and iteration. The upcoming Alpha 319 is set to bring with it a whole host of fixes and evolutions to improve the ways that players make their fortunes in the future.
Yeah, so the last time we said that we don't do anything about mining anymore and we leave it at rest. I think it was even when we introduced the mining gadget, so it was quite a while ago.
It has been a while.
Yeah, well, here we are, sitting here again and explaining to you why we actually had to retouch or wanted to take mining to the next level. So here we are, and giving you something more to enjoy with mining gameplay.
As it should be with all aspects of this game.
So when we left mining, we thought it was already in a good state. So even introducing with the mining gadget, we introduced from our perspective, a nice little different approach on mining. So you have to leave your ship, attach the mining gadget to the rock, then get back into the ship, and then do your mining procedure. And we also thought that it will help with difficulty, so that especially new players can buy a mining gadget to bring down resistances of the rock drastically, so they have an easier mining experience. What we didn't have in mind is that we also have to facilitate expert miners that still need a challenge there. So what we tackled is a general balancing pass. That is, we adjusted all the items, all mineable heads, all mining heads, all sub-items that you attach to the mining head, the mining gadgets, everything now has different values. We cleaned it up drastically, so it is
Hopefully
now clearer what are the positives of what mining head, what are the positives of a sub-item.
Sorry, going to pause for a second. Hopefully this really does flesh it out a bit more. You know, I'm not much of a miner. A lot of people in my org are. I'm more of a salvager, so, you know, this 318 patch has been what I've waited for a long time. And I am greatly excited to see salvage get the same love and attention and broad focus that mining has gotten. But with that being said, I am excited to hear that they are updating all of the values across the board for all the components and subcomponents, and hopefully making them a bit more unique and stand out compared to other ones, because, you know, from what I do know about mining, you know, there was like your go-to two subcomponents, while the rest are, you know, while helpful, didn't really give that whole aspect of what was most important to mining efficiently and quickly, from my understanding. Be interesting to see how this affects. Let me know down in the comment section below what your thoughts and opinions on these changes. If you're excited, disappointed, what your overall well wishes are for the future of mining as well. Would love to have that conversation with you guys. Let's continue.
What are the positives of a mining gadget, and what are the negatives that come with it. And this is more important now because we also touched the minables themselves. So all the minables that you find now have different values in terms of their resistance, in terms of their instability. So what we try to do is match certain mining heads with certain materials or resources that you find. So you will have mining heads that go better with, for example, aluminum, and others that might go better with iron.
Okay, that's cool.
And this directly leads to the next thing. So we introduced finally iron, and iron is an
awesome
exclusive mineable for now. We
nice.
also introduced some new resources like Genelite. Genelite is exclusively found in caves.
Awesome. And cave mining has needed
mineable with
update
FPS.
for so long.
And the reason why we wanted to introduce that is that, like, from the data that we gather from all of you playing, is no one uses FPS mining as a game mechanic outside of the prison. So we wanted to make it more attractive to players to
must needed.
multi-tool with a mining attachment.
I absolutely loved hand mining when it first came out, and then it became
so
virtually worthless after they introduced the Rock DS or Rock and Rock DS.
Find the new mineable, and I can guarantee you that it is really profitable to bring that with you. It's not as profitable as the mining as a profession, because if it's your day-to-day job, but it's like a nice golden nugget that you can find on your exploration tool. So next time you are in the caves, better bring a mining attachment with your multi-tool. We additionally cleaned up the way that resources are distributed throughout Stanton, and this is because we want to make resource gathering future-proof. With the introduction of crafting that will come further down the road with its first implementation with the hull scraping gameplay. So you already got a glimpse of it. But what is important there is that we get a better control of where to find certain materials. And also, from our perspective, it's more interesting for players to know where they have to go to find certain material types. So what we did is we defined standard materials and quality or like rarity-based materials. Standard materials are something like copper, like iron, like something that you know from real life is used in basically every item that you find around. And those have distinct locations now within Stanton. For example, aluminum you can only find around Crusader, where copper you can only find around Microtech, which,
interesting.
So, as a disclaimer, this can change during our development, but just to give you an idea that we now have distinct location where you can find these defined standard materials. That doesn't mean that you cannot find the standard materials elsewhere. There are chances of you finding them elsewhere, especially asteroid belts get more attractive because they have a more diverse spectrum of materials. But on the planet side, like you know from Earth, we just have very distinct locations where you can find those rare earths. And what we also introduced is that each of the standard material always have certain more rare or rarer materials associated with them. So this gives you a glimpse of where we are going, where our intention is to have star systems with exclusive materials that you need for your crafting. So you have to travel to a certain star system to get the material that you need for whatever item you would like to create.
Give us the opportunity for resource wars. That's awesome.
There are two more things that we updated. So one thing that we noticed is that mining is a difficult profession, and we want to make the obstacle less less threatening for new players, and that means that we improved our mining UI a little.
The old mining UI was one of the most developed UIs in the game. It was one of the most readable already. but we discovered some improvements we could add to it to make it more enjoyable to the players. But we had like some slight issues with, you could say, clutter, basically, with the center part of the screen with too many elements flashing. So for the next update, we moved some elements together. For example, we moved the mining throttle next to the power charge of the asteroid, since those two elements are semantically related. We've added a range bar to the left with all the ranges you need to keep in mind, like scanning, blast radius, and mining range of your head. We shuffled less relevant UI elements to the bottom of the screen to clear up space on the center part and on what you are looking at. We've also changed the display of scanning to make it less disruptive to the mining experience, and we've improved a little on a bunch of things like color and element positions within each card of the screen to make it more readable.
So now it is easier for you to see what distance you have to keep from the rock, what dangers you encounter on the rock, how your mining head actually is set up right now, and all the parameters that you need to know if the rock that you are targeting is actually mineable. For that, we even added a little helper that basically tells you, hey, it is very doable, it's an easy mining approach, it's a challenging mining approach, or it's an impossible one. Because
make
now
it
there
easier
will be
for people.
One. And this is where our last change for this update comes in, which is multi-crew mining.
Yes.
We thought that the size of the rocks and the power it required for multiplayer mining was sufficient, but especially with the mining gadgets, you could bring down the resistance so much that like multi-crew mining wasn't as needed anymore as we actually intended. And that's the benefit of having a game in a live environment where you, as the community, create videos, create reviews, post like comments on the spectrum that you are basically not as satisfied with the gameplay as you would like to be, and this is now our opportunity, and we saw the need in it to make it even more future-proof for all the upcoming systems. So we wanted to encourage players using the mole in a cooperative environment. And what we think lore-wise was that what makes sense and was an easy win for us was that because you are sharing one system, one computer on your mole, you basically have a way to synchronize your mining lasers. And by that, you get the benefit while sitting in a mole to decrease the instability of the targeted rock drastically.
Okay.
So if you compare this with a prospector hitting the same rock with, like if you have 3 prospectors hitting the same rock, you will get a punishment basically in terms of instability. So we wanted to make sure that it's still solvable. If you are an expert miner, you can counter the instability there. But it's more effort that you have to put into it compared to a mole, where with you have a high
I like it. That makes
instability
sense.
rock, and you have 2 friends or 3 friends, you better pick your mole over the 3 prospectors, because you will have an easier mining experience picking the mole. And there's one more thing that ties in with the difficulty or increase of difficulty that we intended with this update, and that basically brings us back to the resources and the update that we did for the resources. Something we didn't have before, but we will now introduce, is that each resource composition will have an effect on the weight or on the mass of the mineable. So that means there are certain materials that are heavier and therefore harder to crack. So you definitely need to bring friends to be able to crack the stone with the super dense materials, in comparison to resources that are less dense and are more porous. So you will have an easier life or easier mining approach with them. This will not make single player mining worthless. It will make it more interesting for sure, because like we also will update a little bit of the trading, so it is even more valuable, or you get more profit out of even the less the less rare materials, because
Yes,
of the
please make trading
redistribution
and
of
mining
the
more
resources.
profitable, because it
Suddenly
is
there is a
desperately
demand at
needed,
the other side of the universe for aluminum,
especially with
for
piracy coming.
example. So you might wonder when this update will be available to you. And I have some good news. So you might have seen the content that we put in this video already. So it is already in a playable state for us, but not only that. Right now we are on a good track to have it inside, or have it part of the next major release after our 3.18 patch. We are very confident that it will be in 3.19.
Awesome.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that resources are being redistributed throughout the Stanton system and include new additions to vehicle and FPS minables. That the UI continues to evolve and improve the player
Gosh, I
experience.
love Jared's
and that balancing
backdrop.
changes to
His
everything
studio
from
is
heads
just so much
to
fun.
consumables to gadgets and to the resources themselves means that Alpha 3.19 will bring a thoroughly updated experience to miners when it arrives later this year. Now, as for Alpha 3.18, it's available to all players now in OpenPTU, so don't miss your chance to get in there and bang on the pipes, as it were, to help us get things to a live release. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all here next week.
Oh, don't worry, Jared. We are banging the pipes like crazy with 3.18, especially with the state of 3.17 at the moment. Well, fascinating stuff. Absolutely is. I'm super excited for those changes. The idea that, one, we're getting two new, minerals, iron, as well as this other crystal. Unfortunately, I don't recall the name. I'll have to go back and rewatch this to get the name. But I'm glad that they really took the time to look over mining as a whole, all the way down from first-person mining to ground vehicle mining, ship mining, and then multi-crew mining, and really kind of strike a balance between each one. And the changes between especially solo prospector mining and multi-crew mole mining is really interesting to see how that's going to play out. And the whole fact that the mole now will have an easier time cracking harder rocks because of the synchronicities that it has is, I feel, kind of exactly what it needed. It's before there was no point to mine in the mole. 3 prospectors could go out and crack a single big rock, or go out and find all of the nearby ones that they could. And I'm curious to see how the attachments will affect the prospector with these new higher level difficulty materials to mine, and the effects that I'm not sure if it sounded like he was saying that some of these will be impossible with to mine solo now, and that even with multiple prospectors it will be very difficult, and you'll have to calibrate your tools very finely and quickly to maintain it. But let me know what you guys think. It's some exciting stuff. I always love seeing balance shifts for our existing gameplays. It's always combat, and seeing something that touches the logistics of Star Citizen is always fascinating. And with salvage coming in, getting a bunch of focus and love, I'm glad to see mining is getting some additional attention and love as well. And then on top of it, having the economy be affected by it as well. I'm excited to see that hopefully mining becomes even more prosperous for those who enjoy it, and will increased in making emergent gameplay between those that do it, the pirates communities that try to steal and pillage from those that do it, and hopefully it makes it profitable enough to allow players to hire escorts and have people to help them. I know there's a lot of solo people out there that just like playing the game by themselves, and they can't afford to hire other people's out there to help them. But at the same time, there's tons of people out there who do it for free. But sitting there doing nothing it's the age-old debate. Make it worth their time. Make it worth people's time. And hopefully this is a step in the right direction, but we'll have to wait till 319 to see. Hopefully it makes it in. But yeah. With that being said, we're going to end the video here. If you liked it, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. And consider subscribing. We have a giveaway contest going on. To sign up for the contest, all you have to do is subscribe to a channel, like the video you're watching, and leave a comment followed by the hashtag FleetReadyGift. You can find more information in the top right corner here to find out what the prize is and any additional details alongside with that. But we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you guys again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Peace.